I want you to think about every horror show you have ever watched. Every single one of them has a monster. The monster has rules. The rules make sense eventually. You figure it out. You feel smart. Credits roll. From does not do that. From gives you monsters, yes, but then it gives you roads that loop. Children singing in the dark. A man in a yellow suit walking through sunlight without a care in the world. A boy dressed in white who pushes someone out a lighthouse window, and somehow that is supposed to be helpful. And here's what got me. Here is what kept me up at 3 in the morning pulling at threads. None of that is bad writing. None of it is lazy mystery box stuff. Every single piece of it is pointing at something specific. Something that most people have not fully put together yet. Because From is not a horror show about a monster town. It is a horror show about a story. A story that was written wrong a very long time ago. And the people trapped inside it are the only ones who can rewrite it. That is what we're talking about today. Buckle in. Let me set the table here, because if you're new to From, or if you have been watching it but treating it like a standard supernatural mystery, we need to fix that framing first. From premiered on MGM Plus back in 2022. It is the most watched series in that network's entire history. It has a 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Season 4 dropped in April 2026, and a 5th and final season has already been confirmed, which means the creators now have a finish line. They know where this ends. Everything they're doing right now is deliberate. The show was created by John Griffin and executive produced by Jeff Pinkner, who also worked on Lost, Alias, and Fringe. Jack Bender, who directed some of the most iconic Lost episodes, is also behind the camera here. That is not a coincidence. These are people who think in layers. They think in mythology. They think long-term. So when the show keeps circling back to the same symbols, the same patterns, the same specific words, like that one haunting word that ghost children say, that is not atmosphere. That is the plot. That is the answer hiding in plain sight. The word means remember. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what you were supposed to remember and why. Here is where it starts. The real beginning, not episode 1. Way before that, a long time ago, in the place that would eventually become the town, a group of people made a deal. They wanted to live forever. And the price for that deal was the worst thing imaginable. Their own children, 7 kids placed on stone slabs, killed by the very people who were supposed to love them and protect them. But here is the detail that changes everything. The children did not just die. Their deaths created something. Their spirits stayed anchored to that place, calling out the only word they had left. Enkhui. Remember what was done to us. The adults got what they bargained for. But immortality did not look the way they expected. They became the monsters. Locked in the darkness by day, hunting at night, trapped in a cycle they cannot break. And the town that grew around that sacrifice became a prison. Not just for them, but for every single person unlucky enough to drive into it. But here is the crack in the whole thing. 2 of the parents refused. They would not give up their child. And that refusal broke the ritual. The bargain was struck, but it was never completed. And ever since, the force behind that bargain has been trying to finish what was interrupted. That incomplete ritual is the engine of everything. The looping roads, the town that pulls people back, the cycle that resets, the man in yellow who enforces all of it. None of it can stop until the original bargain is either completed or destroyed. And that is the nightmare at the center of From. Now let's talk about him. Because Season 4 has done something that a lot of shows wait too long to do. It actually confirmed the biggest theory about this character right in the premiere episode. He is not one of the monsters. He does not sleep in the caves. Sunlight does not touch him. He walks freely through the town in broad daylight, which automatically sets him apart from everything else we have seen. He is not subject to the rules that bind everyone else. He first appeared at the end of Season 3, and the first thing he did was kill Jim Matthews the moment Jim and Tabitha and Jade got too close to the truth. That is his job. Knowledge comes at a cost. He is the one who collects. But here is where Season 4 gets wild. The man in yellow is a shapeshifter. He has been moving through the town disguised as a new arrival named Sophia, a pastor's daughter who showed up looking scared and confused and completely harmless. She immediately started working her way into the community's trust, using that position to manipulate people, spreading doubt about Tabitha, watching who was getting close to what. Episode 8 drops a conversation between the man in yellow and Tabitha that reframes the entire show. He tells her that digging up the children's bones could either free everyone or open something so much worse. And he does it with this visible excitement, like he is looking forward to whatever comes next. He even tells her he remembers all her previous lives. All of them. He is not the architect of this place. He is the enforcer. He is the one making sure the story keeps running exactly as it was written. And the disturbing implication is that maybe finishing the story is not what he actually wants. Maybe what he wants is to finally complete the sacrifice that was interrupted all those centuries ago. This is the part of the show that hit different when Season 3 revealed it. Tabitha and Jade are not random people who got unlucky and drove into the wrong town. They are reincarnations. They have been here before, many times. Season 3 confirmed that they're the most recent versions of Miranda and Christopher, the two parents who refused to go through with the sacrifice, the ones whose refusal cracked the ritual. They keep being drawn back into this place, life after life, because the incomplete bargain keeps pulling them in. Every time the cycle resets, they lose their memories and have to start from the beginning. And every time, they each carry one piece of the answer. Tabitha carries the emotional key. She feels the wrongness of the town in her bones. The ghost children speak to her. She is connected to the maternal grief at the center of the whole thing. Jade carries the structural key. He decodes the symbol. He recognizes the patterns. He connects the logic. Neither of them can finish this alone. And the man in yellow knows that. His whole game is to make sure they never figure it out at the same time. There's also this darker layer that nobody wants to sit with. An earlier version of Tabitha and Jade had a child together inside the town. That child died and became one of the Ankhui children. They are not just connected to the victims. In some version of this story, they're the parents of a victim. The boy in white is one of the most debated characters in the show's entire run. And for good reason. He helps people, but he also pushed Tabitha out of a lighthouse window. He gives guidance. But that guidance is always incomplete and indirect. He is aging now, which he was never supposed to do. Something has shifted. The best theory circulating right now, and it tracks with everything the show has built, is that the boy in white is the child that Miranda and Christopher refused to sacrifice. He is the missing piece of the original ritual. He exists somewhere between alive and dead, holding the structure of the town together from his side, trying to guide Tabitha and Jade toward a resolution. And if that is true, then the man in yellow's endgame becomes terrifyingly clear. He wants to trick Tabitha and Jade into destroying the boy in white themselves, completing the sacrifice their original selves refused to make, finally closing the loop. That would explain why the boy cannot just tell them the truth directly. That would explain the massacre that Victor survived as a child. The man in yellow tried to manipulate a previous cycle into completing the sacrifice. It did not work, so he wiped almost everyone out and started again. Victor was kept alive because the system needs a human anchor. A child was the safest anchor because even with full knowledge, he could not act on it alone, which is exactly why Victor has spent decades drawing pictures, so he does not forget, and why Ethan, who just arrived, is such a threat to the whole system. The town wants Ethan gone before he becomes the new storyteller, before he can hold the memory the way Victor has. Here is the thing about the town itself. It is not a place on a map. It is not a dimension in any scientific sense. It operates on fairy tale logic, symbolic logic, nightmare logic. The roads loop because the story is circular. The trees move because the world itself is unstable. The talismans work because belief has power inside a world built on meaning. The bottle trees act as portals because the story allows for certain exits. But the most important thing we know from Season 2 is that the town is not permanent. Tabitha physically escaped. She woke up in a hospital in the real world, which means the town is a real space that exists somewhere between life and death, between memory and reality. And it can be left. The catch is that simply leaving is not enough. The cycle pulled her back. Because the prison is not the location. The prison is the unfinished story. As long as that bargain stays incomplete, the town reaches across whatever boundary it needs to cross and drags people back. Season 4 is showing the seams starting to tear. The bottle tree does not work the same way anymore. The seasons are shifting out of order. Even the man in yellow seems unsettled by certain things he did not expect. When the crows appeared after a burial, he was disturbed. That was not in his script. Something is moving that none of the original players fully control. And that might be the opening everyone needs. With a 5th and final season confirmed, the creators have a destination now. And based on everything the show has laid down over 4 seasons, here is what I think that destination looks like. It is not about finding the right road. It is not about reaching the lighthouse and stepping through a door. Those are mechanics. The story is the point. For things have to happen at the same time. Tabitha and Jade have to fully remember. Not fragments, not visions. Everything. Who they were, what child was taken, what the man in yellow actually did at the moment of the original bargain. Julie has to master the ability the show has been quietly building around her. She's a story walker. She cannot change what happened, but she can complete what was left unfinished. She can write the missing chapter. The children have to be released. Their unfinished grief is the engine powering the entire town. Free them, and the engine stops. Boyd's plan to enter the tunnels and reach them might be exactly the right instinct, even if the execution keeps getting pushed back by forces that are actively watching and responding. And Boyd himself has to hold the community together long enough for any of it to matter. His role was never to solve the mystery. His role is to keep people human while the people who can solve it do the work. Because the town wins the moment the survivors turn on each other. When all of that lines up, the ending becomes something almost beautiful. They have to return to the original site. They have to tell the children's story properly, with the missing chapter restored. Not destroy every monster. Not escape the map. End the story. Because the town was never a place. It was always a wound. And wounds do not heal by running. They heal when someone finally tells the truth about how they happened. From is the kind of show that rewards people who pay attention. Not because it hides things, but because it shows you everything and trusts you to put together. Season 4 is airing right now on MGM+. Season 5 is coming. And if the show sticks the landing the way all the evidence suggests it wants to, it is going to be one of the most satisfying endings in recent television. Drop your own theory in the comments. I want to know what you think the boy in white actually is, because I think there is still more there that we have not cracked yet. Subscribe if you want to come back for the breakdown when Season 4 wraps, because we are absolutely doing that. See you there.